Donald Trump gave what should have been a softball town hall with Hannity on Fox News because he refuses to do hostile interviews and actually answer questions. If he does get answered or asked hard questions, he just says you're fake news and doesn't answer them. Where he still fumbles the interview, says humiliating things the mental decline is almost clearer than it ever's been before. I feel like I say this in videos now when I cover it, and then in every next video, he just one-ups it. Like, it's kind of crazy how fast he's clearly deteriorating. So I've lined up a few of these clips just to check out the kind of things that Trump is talking about in 2024.
I can't imagine New Hampshire voting for him. Anybody in New Hampshire, because they're watching right now, but anybody in New Hampshire that votes for Biden.
It seems like the bumbling old man has now forgot who he's running against because he says him and then calls Biden by name, even though there's been a different candidate for over a month. But I know, right? Change is hard, old man, isn't it, right? The older you get, the less you're able to understand it, which leads me to think, why would we want him in the presidential office where things are constantly changing and happening on the drop of a dime when he doesn't even know who he's running against, yet we're supposed to hand him our economy and our nuclear codes? Boy, I sure hope not.
You can't take the chance. You have no choice. You've got to vote for me. You've got to vote for me. You got to. Even if you don't like me, you know? Yeah. It's
yeah, what he means here is you've got to vote for me or I'm going to go to jail. Please save me, MAGA, please. I've got 34 felonies already. I'm going to get hit over documents and election interference, and they're going to lock me up. So please vote for me so I can pardon myself. But really, this kind of stings of desperation, doesn't it? Like, this is a man who usually exudes nothing but confidence, says he's going to win all 50 states, that there's no chance he loses, that they're up by a lot, you know, and now he's almost begging for people to vote for him. And this is what I mean when I say that he lost the energy that he once had. He used to be like, you know, you can't look away from it, kind of like a car crash type deal. Now it's just the same old song and dance over and over again when who really cares, right? And that lack of energy leaves him to having to beg for votes just like this. Now, to end this video and make my job just a smidge bit easier, let's watch the fact check of this town hall for the next two clips.
Iran was broke. They didn't have the money for Hamas and for Hezbollah. They didn't have the money for anybody. We went 4 years without any blow-ups. We had no World Trade Center blow-up. We had no radical Islamic terror. We had no radical Islamic terror.
What say you, Daniel?
I say there are two claims there, and they're both false. So first, this claim that Iran did not have money for Hamas, Hezbollah, and other terror groups during his presidency, that's wrong, as his own administration acknowledged in 2020. Iran continued funding these terror groups throughout his presidency, although it did reduce funding, experts say, when it came under sanctions pressure from Trump. And then the second claim that we had no radical Islamic terror is also wrong. There were terror attacks by Islamic extremists under Trump. There was one that Trump repeatedly lamented during his presidency. It was the attack that killed 8 people on the West Side Highway in New York. DOJ alleged it was carried out in support of ISIS.
Yeah, I mean, there was also a 2019 attack in America under Trump from Saudi, and Trump exacerbated the Middle East issue by moving our embassy to annexed land, which is illegal under international law. As the fact checker said, his own DOJ acknowledged that Iran still had the ability to fund terror groups, but not only that, they also acknowledged that a retaliatory attack from Hamas was likely due to the embassy placement that Trump did on, again, illegally annexed land. So this whole no wars, world peace shtick that he's trying to sell is kind of wearing off because more and more people are learning the truth as they become more acclimated and aware of what actually goes on in the world and geopolitically. And it's Trump that funded multiple proxy wars, refused to block, like the US tried to get us out of Yemen. Trump vetoed that multiple times, saw Americans killed by terror domestically and abroad. I mean, over 60 troops died in Afghanistan under Trump. He attacked General Soleimani, which led to 3 troops getting killed. Like, he was rather reckless foreign politics wise, and it led to a lot of unnecessary deaths. And conflicts just grew more tense under him to where he then often just kicked the can down the road. So he could just say, even though he caused the mitigating circumstances, he can say, not my fault.
If you watch that interview, she had notes. That means she knew the questions. And she had notes. She kept looking down, up. Nobody wants to cover it.
Give us the fact check, Daniel.
Nobody wants to cover it because it did not happen. Vice President Harris did not have notes in her interview with Dana Bash. You can look at images, photos, videos from that interview if you're skeptical. There is nothing on the table right in front of her. All that's there are Dana Bash's notes. You'll notice those pieces of paper facing Dana Bash, not Vice President Harris. And of course, Vice President Harris was not given the questions in advance.
As someone with journalistic knowledge and integrity, I can assure you that it is a mortal sin to tell someone the questions beforehand, and professional journalists are not going to do that. I often have to tell people that I interview on a much smaller scale, like, hey, like, I can tell you like the topics or some of the ideas, but like, I'm not going to give you the exact questions or an idea of what I'm going to ask you. And as you can see in the picture that they showed, this is yet just another Trump lie. She didn't have notes. She didn't have the questions, and it can easily be disproven in mere seconds. Trump just has no attack lines on Kamala, and it's frustrating him because nothing that he's trying is sticking. And in the meantime, every attack that Kamala makes on Trump is proving to be very effective. I mean, he's gotten stuck with Project 2025. He's gotten stuck with, she's able to prosecute like the 2020 election stuff a lot more. He's now the old man in the race. These are all things that Kamala has stuck on him and he can't escape, which I think spells disaster for him come this debate in about, 5 days now? I mean, the clock is ticking for his campaign hopes. And I, for one, cannot wait to see it.